Sonic Cinematic Universe, X Sonic Boom, Chapter 4, Reunited, Part 2.
He's Sonic!
Sonic, as well as his taller, lankier counterpart, turned their heads when they heard their name called. He looked at the pink hedgehog that had sat down and joined them at their table.
Huh? Oh, who are these adorable little kids? You didn't tell me you were babysitting today.
Hey, Ames. No, we are not babysitting. These two are a version of me and Tails from another universe. Another really different universe.
Sonic didn't miss the glance the bigger him gave them. He had opened up a bit more about himself and his brothers. Sonic didn't miss the glance the bigger him gave them. He had opened up a bit more about himself and his brothers. Apparently going through things like near-death experiences and trauma were concerning and a big deal.
Have you seen Styx? I haven't seen her all day.
Sonic was suddenly paying attention to the conversation again, curious who this Styx person was.
I should probably preparing for those Boomba things to take over the world.
Who's Styx? And, who are you? Are you a hedgehog too? I've never seen another hedgehog besides me. And well, me.
Both his counterpart and the pink hedgehog looked at him, processing what he'd said.
Oh, well, I'm Amy Rose. And yes, I am a hedgehog. And wait, you don't have a me in your universe?
No, not that I know of. Tails, you don't know an Amy Rose, right?
He looked to his little bro who was enjoying being pet by this universe's Knuckles, purring away.
I'll take that as a no. Okay.
Well, consider yourself lucky.
His counterpart tried to whisper, but with his Amy right next to him, it was in vain.
What do you mean by that? I'll have you know I am a valuable member of Team Sonic, like you, Knuckles, or Tails.
Sonic pitied his other self when he saw Amy whip out a huge hammer and start swinging. Luckily, he was a fast thinker.
Whoa, that hammer is so cool. Is it heavy? Is that your weapon? Can I swing it? Please.
He used his cuteness as a weapon, a sacred trick he passed down to his little brother. It had the desired effects. The anger from Amy went away almost instantly. She was clearly happy with his apparent interest in her and answered his questions. He saw his other self mouth "thank you" from the corner of his eye. As Amy began explaining her hammer in an unnecessarily detailed fashion, Sonic did his best to listen. He really did, but a familiar flash of red in his peripheral vision stole his attention. Knuckles ran to an unimpressive village, holding his new and dear friend carefully in his arms. He had to admit, he had expected more from the village that produced someone like the fox, but supposed that made the fox all the more impressive. He slowed to a halt, reluctantly accepting that he had pushed himself to his limits to escape the temple. It took almost every single ounce of power he had to free them both. That temple truly was an adversary unlike any other he had encountered before. He looked down at the fox in his arms, who was unconscious now. Another error on his end had resulted in this. In his blind rage of punching without thinking, he had failed to notice a huge chunk of rubble about to crush him until the fox had bravely pushed him aside, taking the blow instead. Fortunately, there were no more damages to his skeleton. Unfortunately, he likely had one of the concussion things that he had heard Maddie speak of.
Knuckles!
He heard his name being called out, and his head shot up to look at the source. He felt a great sense of relief when he saw his brother sitting with what. He squinted to make sure he was seeing properly, and wasn't suffering from any injuries making him hallucinate. Another him, another Sonic, and a pink hedgehog.
Over here!
He took a single step towards his brothers, before the weakness took hold and forced him to the ground. He mentally scolded himself, not sure how he didn't notice how wobbly his legs had been. Even now, his arms could barely hold his friend.
Knuckles, are you okay?
Oh my gosh, what happened to you two?
Tails! What happened in that temple?
Knuckles shut his eyes tightly, not really appreciating being overwhelmed by all the voices crowding him so suddenly. Luckily for him, his brothers noticed this and ushered everyone surrounding him to give him some space. He took a few deep breaths, an earthly custom one uses to relax.
Knuckles, are you two okay?
I am simply drained. That temple was a worthy adversary. As for the fox, he has a few broken ribs and has a high probability of having a concussion.
How did he get those injuries?
I may have accidentally punched him when trying to punch him free of a trap he was ensnared in.
A concussion?
Rock.
He mumbled, eyes starting to feel too heavy to keep open. Knuckles jolted awake, heart pounding and all of his instincts screaming to be on guard. The weight of his brothers cuddled up against him grounded him, reassuring him there was no danger, no threat, nothing. He was safe.
Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to wake you. It's just, well, my tales explain the situation to me. You're me, but you look so different.
He looked up, seeing his other self leaning back. His presence must have been what woke him.
As do you. You must be a great warrior.
I wouldn't say I'm a warrior. I'm just the punching guy. Actually, I was wondering, are you, the last one too?
I am. What happened to our race in this dimension? What of the Master Emerald, or the Chaos Emeralds?
I don't know. I never knew any other echidnas. And, what's a Master Emerald? And Chaos Emeralds? I've never heard of them.
I see. I envy you. You grew up without such a burden and responsibility to our tribe.
I don't know what envy means, but I'm jealous of you.
Knuckles scoffed, not sure how someone like this Knuckles could possibly be jealous of his life.
Well, it's just, I'm pretty sure your people are proud of who you've become. I'm sure if my people could see me, they'd be ashamed that the last of their kind turned out to be, well, dumb.
Knuckles blinked, brow furrowing. He was expecting some petty reason for his counterpart's jealousy. But he hadn't been expecting this.
Well, if it makes you feel any better, you seem pretty smart to me. And I'm proud that you're a version of me.
He tensed as his counterpart practically jumped on him and hugged him.
I'm glad that you're a version of me too. You grew up well, even with the responsibilities.
He chuckled, accepting this attempt at comfort. And after a few seconds, the sound of snoring made him accept that he was now holding 3 sleeping brothers.